Sandbox episode, we're excited to talk to designer, educator, mentor, and community advocate. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Jamal Jayworking Collins to the show.
All right.
What's up?
That's a hearty clap for yourself.
Energy.
Yeah, I love it.
I know it made me really embarrassed about all my claps leading up to today. Very self-conscious.
Yeah, you made Patrick very self-conscious. We need that extra energy because Luke isn't here, so we're a man down. So if you can be as energetic about yourself as humanly possible.
And we know how much energy Luke brings to this show.
So Jamal, first of all, we're so excited to have you on the show and excited to chat with you. But before we jump into all the ins and outs, tell everybody a quick Wikipedia page about who you are and what you do.
All right, so my name is Jamal Collins. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. I'm a designer. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a educator. And most of all, I'm a mentor. So that's the most important thing I am, is a mentor. So, yeah, I do it all. So personal branding, video, photography, illustrations, design thinking, public speaking. I do everything. So.
But not for this week. You're on a break right now.
Yeah.
Right.
You have your 1 week off between your 4 jobs. That's what I understood.
Well, that's So let's just jump right into that because that's something. As we were preparing for this and as we were talking to you and getting things set up, you said that you have 4 jobs that you kind of balance and that you're juggling. Talk to us about how each of those jobs kind of hits a different, scratches a different itch, I guess, if you could say, with fulfilling your day-to-day life. Like how does each of those jobs play into your overarching, what you give back to the community?
Okay, so first of all, I work at the Boys and Girls Club, and I started an after-school program teaching graphic design. So that's kind of like where I started from, and that's kind of like my baby. So I'm virtually have about 4 locations. Sometimes it varies, so it depends. So between 4 to 7 locations, I hit that spot. So I work as a consultant, so I have a freedom of making my own schedule. I work after school, so I can kind of have a work-life balance where I can spend time with my family and hit the locations I need to. So roughly within the last year, I started 4 other jobs, and one I work at another elementary school. And this is a cool school because it's a smaller district, and they have something called a Coders Techie program, and they do coding with these middle schoolers. And they wanted to introduce a graphic designer element to this coding program. So that's where I come in at. Also during the day, so this is all after school. So that gives me free time during the day. So during the day, I'm an adjunct professor at our community college, and there I teach cinematography and photography. Kind of got this job from doing a lot of vlogging and a lot of my videos. So actually, and then I do some workshops. It's like this place called PNC Bank. So PNC Bank. So PNC Bank has something called PNC Fairfax, where they took a bank and they kind of turned it into a technical hub for the community. They could come in and they can use computers, and they have some type of program. The problem was that they didn't have any, I won't say they didn't have any cool programming, but.
You don't want to say that.
That's fair to say.
They needed some more. So I came in and I did some sessions with them. So just busy doing all of that and just trying to, I kind of get spread thin sometimes. So I have people calling me and, just going around and just doing what I do, man, and just teaching design and giving them a way to think too. So that's the most important thing.
So where does that desire come from? Specifically when it comes to education, where does that come from?
It comes from I know what I needed, man, and I had a terrible, slow grind to getting where I am at this point. I took a lot of risky chances as a youth, and I think that I could have been, I could have jumped over that if I would have had the right person guide me to that point. So I feel like it's my need to come and try to help these guys just move in the right direction. I think might have not have been as practical when I was growing up as it is now. Like you can start a channel, you can start just crushing it right now. You don't have to wait to college. So I think that that's a very feasible and vital type of mindset that the people should have. So it's really trying to get the parents to really take hold of this type of method of we're not waiting for college. They 13. They should have channels. They should have a clothing line. They should have it all. So yeah.
Because the tools that are available to all of us, but especially thinking about my younger self, the tools that are available, it's just, I mean, you have access to basically anyone in the world, and you do have access to, you just said create, a clothing line. You can do that sitting in your home. That is a possibility now where, it wouldn't have been in the past. So specifically, though, you focus on like early teens or just really anyone that's like adolescent, pre-adult?
For the most part, I'm middle school. So it's like 7th and 8th grade. But I have like 8-year-olds. I got like 17-year-olds. So it really doesn't matter. Just the ones that come in and put in the work. I mean, they get excited when they first come in, and then after a while, I kind of see them kind of falling off a little bit as they get older. So yeah. I try to crack the whip and try to get them back into it. So yeah, it's interesting to see it come about.
So for me, the question that immediately comes to mind is when you're doing these programs, when you're connecting the idea of creative fields, like the creative professional fields of like graphic design or cinematography, photography, these various different things, these avenues that you teach, how much of it is practical execution, like you're teaching them how to use Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, InDesign, whatever it is, and how much of it is philosophy? Because you've got this thing on your webpage where you say design for social change. And so how much of it is the philosophical mindset versus the practical hands-on mindset?
Practical hands-on is first. And I would say the philosophers, how you say it?
I say philosophical, but I've been known to be wrong.
Philosophical. Okay, so the philosophical comes later. That's just kind of, get them to thinking. I'm not really sure if they're really getting it. Like I'm not. I can't guarantee that if I teach them something, that's something to think about. Like what you're watching, what you're listening to, are they really getting it? Yeah. So that's why I record it so they could watch it again, or so maybe somebody else can get it if they don't get it. So I record the classes so I can get them some of those little nuggets and stuff. I mean, because I'm a techie, I'm older, I'm kind of like into a lot of this type of thinking of design thinking. So I want to kind of maybe regurgitate something I read and give it to them in a layman's term so they can get it.
Yeah, sure. So that makes sense. Yeah, especially when you're talking to younger kids, a lot of times you've got to drill right. You got to lose some of the subtlety when you're talking to younger kids. So yeah. So then, what does that mean for you? That phrase. Then, what does that design for social change? What does that mean to you?
That means to save somebody's life, like to change, to give them a different way, give them options that they not necessarily think that they would have. So to change their way of thinking and give them some possibilities. Like, I mean, a lot of these guys just don't have nowhere to go, nothing to do. So they just kind of lost, and they're going to end up in trouble because there's not really a lot of things like, to do actually. So they need cameras, computers, they need drones, they need to be into this stuff, because if they're not, they're going to be into girls, they're going to be into popular culture. Popular culture is just telling them to party. So that's having a party mindset. A lot of them are super duper consumers. All they're doing is playing games, and they're a bunch of followers. So this is the problem. When you follow the masses, they're not going to lead you to the right path. They're going to lead you to doing something that's going to take you a longer route of going through school, of college, maybe girlfriends, having a baby out of wedlock, getting caught on some drugs, getting into some criminal problems, just having problems, some friction at home. Like, I'm just telling these guys to Like, do what you told at home, do your homework, and then ask for this stuff. Your mother's not going to buy you a MacBook Pro if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing at home. So it's like, essentials and non-essentials, and it's, always going to be some type of takeaways. So if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, then, you're not going to get what you want on the flip side. So a lot of the guys follow me. They like my energy. They like what I'm doing. They like what I'm saying. And a lot of them try to act like they're on my level, but at the same time, they're not taking care of their business. They act like businessmen, and I want this money, and I'm the best designer. And at the flip side, when I talk to their mom, they're not doing their homework. So this is all, and, it's kind of weird. Maybe we could talk about it a little later, but it's kind of a different point of view with the college kids because they older. Sure. So it still reminds me of the younger guys. They kind of worry about grades, and they don't really care about like really mastering the craft. So they let other classes kind of dictate, what they do in my class, because I'm a little bit more lenient because I want them to get to understand the camera and understand framing your shots and hanging out with me and things like that. So they drop the ball just as much as the little guys do. So it's like, I kind of jumped around. So
no, it's good. So so actually, real quick, then let's chase that rabbit for a second. So I totally resonate with the idea of college, getting so caught up in the classes themselves, of missing the big picture of where am I actually trying to get to in my life, right? Because college is supposed to be a springboard into your future on some level, and you can get so wrapped up in the experience of college you sideline the future. So stepping back into like high school or middle school, what is the focus that really, or what is the thing that sidelines kids' attention at that standpoint? I know you said the party mentality, but what else is it that sidelines someone's attention in the earlier years?
They don't create anything. That's their problem. They don't create any content whatsoever. They just look and consume. So they're looking at videos and they're looking at stuff. So they're not creating any channels. They have iPhones. I talk about this all the time. They have iPhones with video. They don't do any type of video. And this doesn't even necessarily have to be like a designer type person. They could be a cheerleader. They could be a football player, basketball player. I should see you taking shots. I should see you doing all of these things. And they're not doing anything. I don't even think they really understand about let's pull the layers back on really what the social networks can be used for, not just posting your meals and selfies. Understanding analytics and understanding really how to turn yourself into a personal brand and what that means. Like monetizing your friends. I'm like, I tell them, if you're cool, you're younger than me, you could really establish yourself now. There is, when I talk about social change, I really feel in my heart that there is no jobs without no content based around them. The days of having a resume, I think, are over. I'm seeing so much video in LinkedIn, it reminds me of YouTube. You gotta, guys want to see right now, I used to kind of lie on my resume, I'm a web designer. Right. So, I was kind of, wanted to get into web design. I was doing it a little bit, but I wasn't working in my field as a web designer. So I'm lying on my resume. Them days are over. They want to see video that match your bullet points. So, these guys really need to You
have to create something then.
Yeah.
So for you personally, because I know you said earlier that a lot of this just stems from feeling the lack of it in your own life. How did you overcome that?
My parents was, always behind me and support me. I had a great family structure, so I was able to afford a good lawyer.
Yeah, that's
to get me out of some trouble. So, it takes more than that. It takes more than parents, though. So, it was just a long way. Student loans and trouble with corporate. I always needed a mentor to help me along the way. I just had to figure it out. Me and my companions, we just kind of had to figure it out as we went. So, that's a longer process. But, I mean, it's for a reason, so I can help the youth now to help them navigate through college, because I've been through that. I've been in the corporate world for forever, so I know how to navigate through that too. So, just helping them, get through that so they can be successful faster.
So, on the topic of parents, what was it like when you first started doing this? When you first jumped into this world, did you have the because now I think you have probably some ground, some stuff under your belt that you've success and people have seen you around and there's consistency. But when you first started this, how did you convince parents to let you speak into their kids' life on this level?
I could think of one situation where I had a kid that was coming in. I ran a contest, so they were doing pretty good. So I said, we're gonna do some cast posters, 24 by 36. We're gonna grab some images of LeBron or whoever was playing, and we're gonna design some posters. And whoever win this poster, we're gonna take it and deliver it to the Cavs themselves.
Man.
So I had a guy that was coming in, and he kind of nailed it. I added a little touches to it, but he pretty much nailed it. So I'm like, okay, we set up a time where we're going to bring, a lot of times I'm so engaged with the youth, I forget to get the parent engagement. Like sometimes kids come, they design and their mothers and them don't even know. Like they got cameras. I'm telling them, take pictures of your work, show this to your mom, show this to your parents. So I had him come in. He was supposed to come in and meet me to send this poster off. So I'm trying to call to make sure he can come, and then his sister's telling me that he's on punishment because of his grades. So he can't come to the program. So a lot of parents is kind of like almost stopping their kids from coming into the program as a punishment. So I'm calling them and telling them like, hey, look, I'm going to talk to him about his grades. This is, the best time for him to come with me. This is going to give him the fuel to get on the right track. I'll talk to him about his grades so he can come with me and drop this off. So she was able to let him come, but I've had situations where I took the kids to like the Cavs cool field trip. So I took them to the Cavs, like a Cavs boardroom meeting with the designers and the web designers at the Gund Arena to do some work. And I had one kid not show up on a bus. And I had talked to his father previously. Like, look, let your son come. This is going to help him. He wants to be a designer. This is going to help him design. This is going to help him point him in the right direction and help him with his grades. I don't think they make the connection. So I'm, getting people on the bus, and I'm looking for this one guy, and he never showed up. And I talked to his father. So this is kind of like heartbreaking stuff. Like, man, how you going to not let your son go to the Gund Arena and do some designs with the Cavs? Like, this is crazy to me.
Yeah. It seems to me like you're still in this process of learning. It's like you figured out how to reach and talk to kids and adolescents. It's the parents who maybe it's harder work a tougher nut to crack, right?
Yeah, because I don't know I don't know what's going on at home. I just see maybe a kid kind of dozing off, or he's kind of not really engaged. So I don't know exactly what's going on. So I'm trying to figure that out. Like, sometimes I come home frustrated, and then I have to sleep on it myself and wake up. And I got to keep in mind that every kid is different. They learn at different rates. So when I have like 20 kids, I got to keep in mind, like, because some of them acting up and I'm ready to kick them out the room. I have to think about my own principles and my own practice of me, because I was the one getting kicked out. A lot of these guys those are the guys that need to be pulled in. They need the most attention the most, is the guys that's acting up, or not really acting up, because I'm kind of lucky because mine is kind of like a hand-picked. It's fun. I showed them some stuff in Photoshop. So they kind of really ready to hang out with me.
It's not like a Scared Straight program.
Well, plus you're like a cool looking dude. Like, I mean, you got a great beard, and like, I feel like, man, I want to hang out with you. I can tell that I would be cooler if I spent time with you.
Exactly.
That's not a high bar though, because Patrick is already.
He got the beard though, so we all got the designer
There's
look.
hair down here.
There is hair on his face. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, you're correct. Okay, so in that case, for someone listening who's going, okay, this sounds like a cool thing. maybe I want to try to get involved and figure out a way that I can, give back or pour into a younger generation. What's a step one that you would take down that path?
I mean, I would say email me. Send me an email or call me. My number's on my website, so it's jayworking.com. Call me. Let's have a conversation. Like, I'm willing to, talk to some students, Skype, fly in, talk to them. Whatever needs to happen, I could come in and do that. Like,
and that's where the consulting component comes in, right? For you,
sure.
On a business level, like you come in, and when you come into places, are you talking to students, or can you also train organizations and adults on how to do what you're doing?
Yeah, both. Okay. I haven't got to that level of talking to adults about it, but they kind of sit on the sideline and try to watch me. So
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah. So for go ahead.
No, you got it. You got it.
Oh no, I was wrapping it up.
Okay, cool. Now Luke's got it. You got it. Okay. So what would you say? What would you say is probably the biggest lesson learned for your students, or like typically creates the biggest aha moment for the people that you're teaching?
When they can design something when I don't have to tell them what to do. So that's the aha moment, when they can do something without kind of following instructions. See, a lot of them are in school, so they're used to being told what to do. And this kind of relates back to the college students, too. A lot of them don't like to go above and beyond the instructions. So it's like this whole thing of compliance and following instructions and being told what to do. So here's 5 steps. And then after that 5 steps, they're like, okay, I'm done. And then they're gone. So when they can go above and beyond that 5 steps after I give it to them, then that's their eureka moment.
like I hope it clears up, and so I'm just going to keep nodding.
Uh-oh.
What? It says your network seems to be blocking the connection. Did you see that?
Yeah, that's weird. That's going to try it different. Luke, you're going to have to edit this.
Yeah.
Luke, you're going to have to edit this. We lost internet briefly, but it's fine.
All right.
What part did I get cut off on?
Basically, the very beginning.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, so the question was the eureka moment when they get it. So I was kind of talking about a lot of them are used to, I think it's just being in school, they used to being told what to do. So when I give them some instructions on, here's the 5 steps on, completing this poster. Connection looked like it's interrupted again. We good?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I don't know what happened.
It seemed like the exact same place. I don't think the internet likes your answer.
Oh, is that, I kind of just got this new box, man. So hopefully it's not on my end. So
I think it has something to do with the platform that we're using. There's something weird where it's just acting weird. All right, let's try that one more time. We are hearing you now, and everything is good. So.
Okay, so this is about the eureka moment, and what it's all about is they have to the students have to take at least 5 steps to get to a point, and a lot of them just kind of stay within those 5 steps, and they don't kind of go outside of that. So when I have somebody who goes above and beyond that's when they get the eureka moment. And then I have a bunch of them come in. Let's say I've been giving them some instructions for about like 3 weeks, and then they come in and I say. So they say, what are we doing today? And I'm like, we're not doing, we do whatever you want. Whatever you want to do, just go do it. And they like, oh, we can do. They get real excited when I don't give them anything. So they can just go off on their own. So that's kind of like, that's almost like the eureka moment for me. When I can say, just like, just do something and then change this, move this around type of thing. So.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because middle school, high school, college, every bit of it is, here's the instructions, do exactly these things, and you'll get your grade and move on.
Exactly.
And so so to have to go beyond that is breaking a barrier.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the biggest struggle, because they're being told what to do so much. It's like indoctrinated into us. So even a bell ringing is like you can't really finish a thought or finish what you're doing because you're rushed off to the next section in the school when the bell rings. So,
and so because so that actually is a perfect segue into what I was going to ask, because this is outside of the confines of traditional schooling, right? I know your college stuff is within the confines of that, but the Boys and Girls Club stuff, does that give you flexibility that you would otherwise not have if you were inside the traditional school system?
At this point, I want to say no because I don't care.
Good answer.
I gotta follow my heart. So I kind of have to. I don't know, just to be a leader and go outside the boundaries and really crush it. You gotta break outside the system. Can't be confined to following instructions and doing what the school tell you to do. So I don't know if I would have a job if I was. I don't know, but I think this is the way of almost like kind of self-taught, kind of just understand like the model has not changed, but the industry has. So if they don't evolve, then they're just gonna be I don't know, like when I graduated in '97. Shortly after, I want to say 2 years, they were outsourcing my work to India. Like they made, called it the brand guidelines, but it kind of took and made design in cookie cutter form. So it was really no need for designers. So it's like about 5 of us, and it was down to like 2. Quick. And this was like when? This was like before 2000. I mean, this was like the early 2000s. So being a designer is kind of like, it's going to be tough. Because I could just go to a website and just type in and get a template and just kind of upload some pictures at Google, and then I'm designing. So, they got to do more. They got to do video. They got to do, audio. They got to have a podcast. I mean, why not?
Yeah, like it sounds like the overarching theme of what you're trying to drive home for these students and for the community that you're in is to just be content creators, whatever it is. It doesn't sound like you hold to any hard and fast truths about what is the right method for success other than doing something that you love and putting work out into the world.
Yes, correct. But still understanding the technology of camera. So they should understand ISO, lenses. They should know how to fly drones and the laws about that. Analytics, what that is. Understanding some levels of marketing too. So following the right people. So understanding all that stuff too.
Yeah, that's what you're doing is setting it up in such a way that there's an infrastructure. Like a baseline infrastructure that they can then build whatever enterprise they want on top of.
Yes, you nailed it.
So you saying that I nailed it is a great way to segue into our finals, because we want to keep this bite-sized for everybody. We want to be aware of your time because you probably have 2 jobs to get to after we're done recording tonight because you're so busy. But I'll just jump in with mine, and Patrick can take his afterwards. What has it been like working with organizations, not the Cavs specifically, but maybe the Cavs as an example, getting their buy-in to let you do what you do with these students? Like, how important has that been?
It's been very important. It could be more. So, I have emails out there and just, kind of waiting around sometimes. So it could be more. Sometimes it's kind of cool because sometimes I can pull the kids in and say, look, this is not what we want to do. This is not what you want to do. Now, I don't want to name any companies, but some companies are just got one designer, guy's not really practical. He's kind of like, designing like boring brochures. So I keep it, as honest as possible and say this might not be a route for us to go through. So it's good to see that, I don't know if I answered your question.
Well, so the idea, I think you started to, for sure. At least you got a good start to it. When you're reaching out to these different companies or these different organizations or whatever it is, and you're saying, let's just use the Cavs because we've used that as an example already.
Okay.
you reach out to the Cavs and say, "Hey, I want to do this thing. Here's what I do. I mentor young adults and students, specifically in the world of graphic design and cinematography, video, and whatever, and photography. And here's a project that I want to do. Do we have your support in this? Like you being able to go into the to the boardroom and meet with the designers. That doesn't just happen, right? They don't just send you a text message. So how important are those networking conversations and pitching what you do and communicating that well?
Yeah, it's very important. I think it's vital because it gives the kids a bird's eye view of what the possibilities can be. So it's just me trying to really spread my awareness as much as possible. And it's kind of easy to have that conversation because I have so much content. So it's just like a email, and I can kind of show the value that I've been giving to the people. So it's really not too hard because I do have some type of track record. At the beginning, it was just mostly emails and people really just taking a chance on really doing it for me. So I would say the beginning part would just be them taking a chance. So
so I have an addendum to my final. So it's like my final part 2.
Dot 2 / final for
fine.
real.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Dot AI. Do you allow your students, or do you use that correspondence with them so that they see what you're putting out there and then seeing the back and forth and how that comes to fruition? Or do you just come to them after you have a really cool project and say, here's what we're going to do? Or do they get to see from the beginning, middle, and end how those connections turn into something real?
What part you mean? Meeting with the Cavs or just doing a project with them?
Just no, like something where that would be like external, like meeting with the Cavs. Did your students get to be a part of seeing what you sent to them initially and then seeing the correspondence, or did you just do the project with them?
I just did the project with them. But that's a good idea, though. That's a good idea. I'm glad you brought that up.
You can have that.
So if you take nothing else from this experience, just you can have that.
You can have
that. I'm curious if or if you don't mind sharing it, if you have like one specific instance of where maybe you had a student that was just absolutely headed the wrong direction, and your mentorship, being a part of a program, just really just changed the course of his life. Do you have a story like that you could share with us?
A kid a student that was heading in the wrong direction, and I changed his life. I kind of got one, not underneath that context, but I kind of got one that's a student that I talk about him a little bit recently, that I just met him in, I want to say this spring. He can't read. So, but he's like one of my best designers. Like he's probably the best designer I've had in a long time. So he's kind of like outshines like some of the guys who've been coming for a long time. He goes above and beyond the steps that I tell him. Like it's amazing. So he's, and I kind of work with him on his language because he kind of like speaks the terms using Google Voice. So, and I told his teachers that, because, I don't want them to not let him come in my class because he needs to do his extra work to get him on a level, because he's almost like 13. So, but to see the work that he puts out is just like amazing to me. So,
you spend a little extra time with that student as well, like draw them in under your wing a little bit more when you see like raw talent.
Yeah,
but you see
a lot of
a major
them.
hurdle that maybe is.
I'm trying to think of another situation where I can. Connection is interrupted. We back on?
It's good. We're almost through it. Is there a blizzard right now? I'm just kidding. It's probably like my internet.
It is.
Something.
It probably is. Gig City.
So I was just wrapping up about one of the youths that you was asking me about.
Follow up.
Luke, you're gonna have fun with this one, buddy.
Yeah, I hope that's not me. I kind of got a new box, so.
No, it's cool. Yeah, Luke. I mean, sorry, Andrew. Just ask your follow up again.
When you do you pull students like that under your wing, maybe a little bit tighter, spend a little bit extra time with them when you see that there's somebody with raw talent, but there's some major hurdle in their life?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. As we wrapped up, we have something at the Boys and Girls Club called the Spring Showcase, where all the arts programming kind of come together like a little, like festival, if you will. And which was what was cool about it that it was at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah.
And usually I do a collection of all their work and I create a poster. But this guy had so much work that he had 2 posters. And this is like the first time, I've done that for somebody. And they get to take their posters home. So, they get to really get a chance to see something they've been doing on the computer and something tangible that they can take home. Like, this is just like,
that's exciting.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
cool.
think it's something you said earlier just struck me. Just the idea that, if you aren't doing well in these core curriculums, math, reading, science, history, whatever, that you would potentially be withheld from participating in other areas that could absolutely be what you build your life around. I mean, his ability in design can absolutely become his future.
Exactly.
And the thought that someone could be, again, pulled away from that because of a deficiency in a different core subject, that's a frustrating thought.
Yeah.
And without people like you stepping in and without other educators that are willing to step in, especially, when we have a case where schools tend to underfund creative programs and things like that.
Yeah.
Without people being willing to step in, absolutely, there are going to be kids that continue to fall behind and continue to miss these kind of big opportunities that may be laying dormant within themselves, and they don't even realize they have that. So
yes,
that's huge.
Yes,
absolutely.
man. Thank you.
Oh, okay. So tell everybody where they can find you, where they can follow what you're doing, how they can even hire you to bring you out and teach them about this stuff, to talk to their kids, whatever it is. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Okay, so initially my website is jayworking.com. So that's jayworking. That's my handle as well. I got my number, my email on there. Just send me a message, send me an email. I'll come out, talk to the kids, talk to the parents, talk to the educators, talk to everybody on my methods on really waking these guys up and really giving them the mindset of winning and creating something and turning themselves into future little Googlers was what I call them. Creative, smart creatives is what I call them. So, they can reach me that way. Please do.
I love that you put your phone number right at the very top of your website. That was actually the first thing I noticed when I logged onto it. Was
that's brave.
That is because that's not, that shows a level of transparency and a level of trust with a person when you're willing to put your phone number out into the world. I mean, I don't even like giving my email out to people. I like to be as ambiguous as possible, and so that's a huge step.
I'd like to go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I like to touch the people. You know what I'm saying? I'd like to be easy, as accessible as possible if I can. I had somebody from North Carolina call me up and say, "I'm coming to Creative South. I see you was going to be the headliner, and I just wanted to talk to you before I came down there." I thought that was cool. So
yeah,
I love it. I think that's what sets, among other things, that's one of the things that sets you apart from other creatives. Because a lot of creatives and a lot of creative professionals create for themselves, and that's fine because that's how they feel fulfilled. That's how they put food on the table. All these various things. And you're taking it one step further than that. You're using this thing that you're good at, this thing that you are trained in, and you are giving it back in really powerful ways. In a true effort to advocate for the next generation of this community and making sure that it holds true and it has some rigidity to it by the time some of these students become adults and are doing what we do day in and day out to make money for their families. would you do us a favor and help us draw some tokens so that we know what we're going to be talking about next week?
Cool.
Awesome. All right, well, that's it for the interview portion. Up next, we're going to draw some tokens. The tokens portion every week is when we get to find out exactly what our categories are the next week, and we pick our topics based on those categories. So here are the 3 categories. They're in my hand. I'm going to put them face down on my desk. I'm going to shuffle them up, and all you have to do, Jamal, is give me a number between 1 and 3, and you'll be picking for Patrick.
I'm going to say 1.
Toys and games, Patrick.
Toys and games.
The problem is I always go first. That's the problem. That's what it's got to be.
One is the magic. One is the magic number.
Sometimes Luke goes first. You know who never goes first? This guy. That's all I'm saying.
You should do that. Wait, what show was it where like you picked the door or whatever, and then you could choose to keep your prize or pick the other door?
I don't want to do that. That's a lot of work.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay, give me a number of either 1 or 2, and you'll be picking for me, and Luke gets whatever's left over.
We had a little technical issue.
Oh, okay.
Say it again.
Just give me a number between.
I just thought you were super deep in thought,
Right.
like you really wanted
He
to
really
nail
wanted
it.
to get it. He really
I
wanted
thought
to
she
nail
was
it.
trying to pull a fast one, like the internet was interrupted.
Just give me a number between 1 or 2, and you'll be picking for me.
Number between what? Say it again.
Just 1 or 2.
2.
I got TV and film. That means Luke gets art and design. Ladies and gentlemen, we did it. We did it. Jamal, you're a super rad guy, and I so much appreciate on behalf of not just myself, but the podcast and our design community at large what you're doing. And if you're out there and you are a decision maker for conferences, for workshops, at various conferences or things like that, if you are part of an AIGA chapter, look at call Jamal up. His phone number is on his website. You can't make it any easier. Shoot the
If
dude.
you work at a really cool job, call Jamal.
Yeah.
If your job is lame, don't call Jamal.
Yeah, shoot a text to him. He's got his number is right there. But man, I so much appreciate it. Thank you. You can find what he's doing on our website. Just go to mf1podcast.com for the show notes and links to all the stuff we talked about. You can also, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can click all that stuff right below here. While you're at it, give it a share, give it a like, give it a follow, comment, rate, review on all the different platforms. We're on iTunes, we're on Stitcher, we're on Google Play, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Is there anywhere we're not? I don't think we're on Zynga anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we are. While you're at that, head over to mf1podcast.com/family to join our Discord channel where we have, so many creative professionals day in and day out sharing work, encouraging one another, talking about stupid stuff too. It's just a great family and great community of people. If you don't have one, you can join ours. It's 100% free and it's 100% fun. And it's all hours of the night because there's people from all over the world. So there's always someone to talk to if you just get tired of talking to yourself. I don't know. That's not a great sales pitch, but that's okay. While you're at it, you can support the show by going to patreon.com/mf1podcast. Throw a couple bucks in the proverbial bucket. It helps us out so much. It helps us continue to do what we do and hopefully get better at it. Another way you can support the show is go to shop.mf1podcast.com and buy some swag. That way you can look cool while you're helping us out. So it's a great opportunity. I think other than that, MF1 Podcast on all the social platforms, you'll find us. We're there. We're everywhere. But we're going to get out of this episode for now. Is that cool, Patrick?
Do it.
Cool. I'm Andrew.
I'm Patrick.
I'm Jamal.
Peace out.
Bye.
Holla.